Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Okay, let's dive right into this. Have you ever wondered what actually goes on behind closed doors during a high stakes technical interview? Like, what really separates just an okay answer from a truly great one? Well, in this explainer, we're literally cracking the code. We're going to break down a real world junior Java developer mock interview. It's between a candidate named Yusuf and a senior developer named Sarah Chen over at Amigoscode, and we're going to analyze their conversation step by step to build you a completely foolproof playbook for your very next technical interview. To get you there, here is our agenda for today. We'll start with crafting the perfect origin story, then move right into explaining core concepts, handling those tricky follow-up questions, communicating trade-offs, and finally, asking about professional growth. Let's get to it. Section 1, the perfect origin story. This is all about how you use that very first moment as the ultimate icebreaker. You know, the first critical hurdle in literally any interview is the icebreaker. It's that moment the interviewer leans back and asks, "So, how did you get into software development?" How you answer this sets the tone for the whole shebang. And I just absolutely love how Yusuf tackles this. He tells this story saying, "When I was in high school, I had a computer where I couldn't run a single game, so I was writing scripts." He basically explains that he was writing scripts just to squeeze enough juice out of his computer to run video games. He seamlessly takes this super relatable, somewhat frustrating childhood memory and pivots it right into his introduction to coding. So why is this so effective? Well, it's not just a fun little anecdote. It serves a very strategic purpose. First, it shows necessity. As Sarah points out in the interview, necessity is the mother of invention. Second, it demonstrates this innate, natural drive for problem solving. Yusuf didn't just complain about a technical limitation, he literally tried to fix it himself. And finally, it creates a real human connection right out of the gate. That establishes a highly positive, conversational tone before they even get to the hard technical questions. Moving right along to Section 2, explaining core technical concepts, or basically how to communicate the tech without sounding robotic. This is the foundation phase of the interview. It's that moment where you have to communicate textbook knowledge smoothly. You really want to avoid sounding like you just memorized a Wikipedia page 5 minutes ago. So Sarah asks Yusuf what he thinks the most important concepts in object-oriented programming are. Yusuf doesn't miss a beat. He confidently lists the big four: encapsulation, polymorphism, abstraction, and inheritance. But here's the kicker. He correctly points out that you really can't say one is better than the other. Instead, they're the fundamentals that let developers represent real-life objects in code. He delivers this so clearly and confidently. Then, Sarah zeroes in on encapsulation. Yusuf gives a perfectly concise explanation. He talks about bundling up fields with private access modifiers and using methods, like getters and setters, to work with that data. He really emphasizes that this whole setup ensures people don't have direct access to your fields. And Sarah praises this reasoning, noting that controlling access is absolutely crucial for code maintainability. It is a textbook answer, delivered perfectly. But hey, an interview isn't just reciting definitions, right? Let's get into Section 3, handling complex follow-up questions. Now, what's really interesting about this next part is a technique I like to call peeling the onion. This is where interviewers apply a bit of pressure. They take a concept you just explained and make you apply it to a new, way more complex scenario just to test the true depth of your knowledge. Notice how Sarah pivots the conversation here. She takes Yusuf's solid answer about encapsulation and asks how it relates to immutability. They quickly establish that immutability means an object state cannot be modified at all once it's created. But then she drops this high-pressure question: why is the string class designed to be immutable? Yusuf comes back with a really solid initial response. He zeroes in on performance. He explains that by not modifying the object directly, we don't clutter up the string pool, which in turn helps the garbage collector do its job way more efficiently. It's a good, technically accurate answer. But remember, Sarah is peeling the onion. She's about to push him way further into some seriously complex territory. She acknowledges that performance is definitely a factor, sure, but then she hits him with this layered follow-up. How does immutability make string easier to work with in multi-threaded environments regarding concurrency and thread safety? Boom! This perfectly simulates real interview pressure. You give a great answer, but the interviewer wants to see if you actually grasp the whole picture. So the crucial point is how Yusuf navigates this exact pivot. He points out that when you have multiple threads accessing the very same string, if they could modify it directly, it would cause absolute chaos. But because the string is immutable, there is literally no way for those threads to modify it directly. This inherently prevents all that synchronization chaos. Sarah confirms this is a massive benefit because you simply don't have to worry about synchronization issues in multi-threaded code. Yusuf totally nailed this follow-up by just staying calm and thinking logically about how the concept is applied. For your own interviews, remember this. Connecting a core concept like immutability to a complex application like concurrency, that is exactly what separates junior answers from mid-level answer. Let's move on to section 4, communicating trade-offs clearly. A huge part of being a software developer isn't just knowing the tools, it's knowing exactly which tool to use for a specific job. Sarah tests this by bringing up the Java collections framework. She asks him, when would you choose an array list over a linked list? And this brilliantly illustrates Yusuf's technical decision-making. He maps out the exact trade-offs perfectly. He explains that an array list has a backend array, so if you want fast data retrieval by its index, ArrayList is your absolute go-to. But on the flip side, if you need to insert or delete something, the ArrayList is slow because it has to constantly shift elements left and right. In that scenario, if index access doesn't matter, he explains that a linked list is significantly faster for those insertions and deletions. He clearly articulates the why behind his choices, which is exactly what interviewers want to hear. Finally, in the technical portion, Sarah asks about the Java Stream API. Yusuf brings his answers straight back to real-world application. He explains that he uses it purely because of the flexibility it gives him. Instead of manually writing out loops and defining every single fine-grained detail, he can just tell the code what to do. It makes his life as a developer so much easier. It's a fantastic practical answer that proves he actually builds things with these tools and really cares about execution speed and clean code. Which brings us to our final section, Section 5, asking about professional growth. So the technical grilling is finally over. Now it's time for the reverse interview. The interviewer asks that classic question, do you have any questions for me? This is your golden opportunity to close the deal and really stand out from the crowd. Yusuf asks an incredibly smart behavioral question here. He says, if I were to get a job now, how would you describe my success in 6 months of period? This is brilliant. It completely shifts the focus away from technical tests and zeroes right in on long-term professional growth and value generation. It literally forces the interviewer to visualize him succeeding in the role. Sarah's answer to this provides a super tangible blueprint for any junior developer's first 6 months on the job. Step 1, get comfortable with the code base and development processes quickly. Step 2, successfully contribute to a few key projects. And Step 3, demonstrate continuous learning and a willingness to collaborate within their mentorship program. If you are a junior developer watching this, write these 3 steps down right now. They are the absolute perfect roadmap for starting a new developer role on the right foot. Unsurprisingly, Yusuf absolutely crushed this mock interview, earning a resounding "you're hired" from the Amigoscode team. But as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a final provocative thought to chew on. You might know your code inside and out, but can you actually communicate the why behind your decisions? How are you going to answer when the interviewer starts peeling the onion and digs deeper into the mechanics of your solutions? Use the strategies we broke down today, from crafting that relatable origin story to expertly handling trade-offs to build your very own playbook. Good luck on your next interview, you've got this, and keep learning.